Hi, I'm Stone.
And I'm Mickey.
Welcome to Cosmic Conversations. Alright, today we're going to be talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. We're going to be kind of looking at the characters and just giving some information about them, breaking them down a little bit, so you guys can learn about the characters before you go see the movie. We're going to start with Jin Air, played by Felicity Jones. She's the main character in the movie. She's the daughter of Galen and Lyra Air. We'll talk about Galen next.
Lyra or Lyra?
I think I'd say Lyra.
I'm going to go with Lyra just to oppose you.
It's L. That way one of us is right. It's Lyra, but I don't think she's super relevant to the movie. In the newest trailer, you can see that it's probably her giving Jin what looks like a kyber crystal, which looks like it might be of some sort of significance in the movie, probably pretty big significance. So that was.
All right.
Okay, so no, kyber crystals. That's a pretty big deal for bringing that into the movies. Or I know people have said that maybe the Death Star is powered by kyber crystals or something that uses kyber crystal energy to power the Death Star. But we might talk about that a little later.
That's interesting.
So with Jin, she was separated from her parents when she was 15 years old. So she's kind of had a rough past or a rough upbringing since then. So she's a criminal. She has a criminal record, and she's known for being reckless and rebellious. And eventually, she is either taken in by the rebellion or recruited by them, more or less, by Mon Mothma, to be a part of the team to help steal the Death Star plans. Since her father Galen is responsible for the Death Star's creation in some way. So we'll move on to Galen now. Galen Air, played by Mads Mikkelsen. He was in Doctor Strange.
Crossing universes here.
Played Cassilius in Doctor Strange. He more or less helped create or design or was very, very important in the creation of the Death Star. Whether or not it was the design or many people think that he was responsible for creating the power source for the station and for the laser itself.
Okay. And as a side note to him, it's actually rumored that he's an old friend of Orson Krennic.
Yes. So him and Krennic were friends or were acquaintances back in the day. Orson Krennic is the director of the Advanced Weapons and Research Division of the Imperial Military and is responsible for the security of the Death Star project. So what it looks like happens is Orson Krennic comes to Galen Air and is like, hey, you have something you invented that can help power the system that we're making, so you come work for the Empire and help us make this. So... But I'd say they were friends definitely before that happened. I was reading information about it that I didn't end up putting in it, but during the time of the Clone Wars, Jin's family was captured by separatists, or the Separatist Union, and they were rescued by Orson Krennic. So I think this was before the Empire even was a thing, and that's how they knew each other. But so Krennic is he's in charge of the security of the Death Star, and he also has a squadron of his own personal troops called Death Troopers, who are actually they're new, being introduced for the first time in Rogue One. But they're those really cool black troopers that were in the trailers a little bit. Yeah,
did they look exactly like I haven't seen the picture yet. Did they look?
No, they're like, they kind of have more. We'll show a picture of the Death Troopers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they look pretty cool. All right. So now about the actual team of people who were stealing the Death Star plans.
The first member of the team that's going to be invading the Death Star is Captain Cassian and...
Well, I don't know if they're invading the Death Star or just stealing the plans.
They're stealing the plans.
That's what the movie's about.
Okay, well, yeah.
That's what we'll see in the movie.
Alright, I assume that...
I assume too, but
Okay.
you know what happens when you assume.
True. Well, the first person is Captain Cassian Andor, and he's being played by Diego Luna. He's a respected captain in the Rebel Alliance, and he's, like we stated before, he's a part of the team to steal the Death Star plans.
Yeah.
And there's many. How many other members of the team are there?
A few.
There's a few.
We'll touch on them all. We'll talk about them all later in the episode.
All right.
But he's the rebel leader in the group because look at all the other if you look at all the other people in the group, they definitely need someone who's directly from the rebellion to kind of keep them all in check because Cassian Andor is definitely there to help keep an eye on Jin and Mick because she's known for being reckless and just kind of they're using her because of her connection to her father, so he's there to keep everyone in line.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then this next group, it's a pair more or less. It's Chirrut Imwe, played by Donnie Yen, and Baze Malbis, played by Jiang Wen. So you can talk about Chirrut Imwe, Mickey. Go ahead.
So Chirrut Imwe is blind, and I feel like that's really cool because that gives him kind of that feel where he needs to be guided by something, and that shows in the movie that he shows a connection to the Force, not necessarily to where he's sensitive.
Just a very spiritual connection to the Force.
He believes in it, and he thinks that it's definitely real and definitely the way to go for him.
So yeah, it's more. I mean, just you don't have to be a Jedi to believe in the Force or believe in its power. So I wouldn't go as far as to say necessarily that Chirrut Imwe is. I think it's Imwe.
Imwe.
I would say. I think there's an accent over the I, but we'll say Imwe for now. I don't think he's necessarily Force sensitive or can use the Force, but he understands that it is the binding force of the galaxy.
It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
Since he's blind, I guess it makes him very spiritual and knowing that the Force is there to guide him. Okay. His weapon is a staff and a bowcaster, which I love the fact that he has a staff because it's very simplistic. And I just love it because it looks like he can kick butt pretty well with it. And his best friend is Baze Malbis, and they're kind of opposites of each other because Baze is very relying on weaponry and stuff more than being guided spiritually and using more simplistic weapons. But he's also Baze Malbis is a freelance assassin, and so I don't necessarily know if they're part of the rebellion, or if it's going to be more the kind of thing where they don't like the Empire, so it's kind of a common enemy kind of thing of, hey, you don't like the Empire, come help the rebellion, join this team to come help steal the plans.
I can see that being like they're a dynamic duo throughout the entire movie, and what I think is going to happen is they're going to, at the beginning of the movie, separate themselves from the rest of the group, and we definitely see them mesh together throughout the movie. And
more of a team building kind of movie.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know any people that watch Legends of Tomorrow, but that's the same like dynamic duo, partner in crime, team up against a common enemy. I think that's a very largely touched on topic in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I could see them going that way.
Yeah.
Then we have Bodhi Rook, Bodhi. Rook.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Played by Rook. Yeah. Rook. Or I think it's Rook because it's like in chess. He's played by Riz Ahmed, and he's the pilot of the team. Apparently, a very good pilot. But a lot of the websites that have the character information on them say that he's a very volatile, hot-headed person. So I think that's gonna definitely play into the movie somewhat significantly. Or else, why would that be information that was released about his character? I mean, it looked like in the trailer he's the guy that said. Whenever K2SO was like, they're requesting a call sign, he was like, Rogue One.
They are requesting a call sign. It's, Rogue One.
That's him, but he looked pretty calm there, so I don't know if something's gonna happen that I guess he gets mad about, but...
Oh, well, I guess we'll find out pretty soon.
Alright, take up K2SO.
K2SO, first time I saw him, I thought he was Chappie. It took me off guard a little bit. He's a security droid who used to work for the Empire before being reprogrammed by Andor to help the Alliance.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a Chappie thing, if you think about it. He was reprogrammed from the police to work for the gang. I don't know. That's kind of just the comparison I made in my head.
Yeah. So a lot of the things I was seeing about K2SO is he's very much wanting to atone for his past sins of working for the Empire, realizing maybe what he did was wrong. Now it's all reprogramming anyway, but I think he still remembers his time working for them. But yeah, I really like his design. He's very you have droids like C-3PO who are very fragile, and K2SO looks like he's very, very capable of moving around and being involved in the action. So I think that's going to be really cool. Next we have Saw Gerrera, played by Forrest Whitaker. Oh, K2SO is played by Alan Tudyk, by the way. Just throw that in there. He does the voice, and I think he did the motion capture for him as well.
Oh, okay.
But Saw Gerrera is played by Forrest Whitaker. He's actually the character we have the most information on because Rogue One is not his first appearance into the Star Wars canon. He was actually in the Clone Wars cartoon on Cartoon Network, I think for a few episodes or for a story arc. He worked along in the episodes he was in. He worked alongside Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka to, I think, help free his planet or something like that. He fought against the Separatists. He was the founding member of a group called the Partisans, and the Partisans were were a cell that helped form the Rebel Alliance. If you watch Star Wars Rebels, the Rebel Alliance is built up of a bunch of small rebel cells that come together kind of to form this alliance, but he had a group that was part of that. But Saw Gerrera is also known as being very much an extremist, so I guess his tactics are very aggressive and out there. But obviously he's successful if he's been fighting against the Empire for this long. He's missing his right leg, I think. In the trailer you see that robotic leg come down, that's him.
We have hope.
But yeah, he's gonna help the Alliance and the Jin's team in some way. Yeah, so then there's smaller characters. There are two alien characters who are part of Jin's team called, I think it's Poa and Bistan, but I don't think they're super relevant. They're just two soldiers who are part of the team as well, but I don't really know. They're very different looking creatures. Then of course,
the character that no one's ever heard of. Let's see, who is that? Oh, Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's who everyone's most excited for, obviously. But an interesting fact, because people have been wondering how much is Darth Vader really going to be in Rogue One. Darth Vader only had 12 minutes of screen time in A New Hope, and he was the main villain in that. So, I mean, Darth Vader could go without having very much screen time at all. But I mean, they showed him in the trailer, and he looks like he's gonna play a very important role, and I think we're hopefully gonna see a side of Vader that we haven't seen in the movies yet. Maybe a lot more of his aggressiveness, or his him maybe more in action than we saw him in any of the movies.
That I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean everyone's most excited to see Darth Vader in the movie. So. All right, well, I guess we'll find out on December 16th when Rogue One: A Star Wars Story hits theaters.
Yeah, well, until then, as always,
I'm Stone.
And I'm Mickey.
Thanks for joining our conversation. James Earl Jones is reprising his role as voicing Darth Vader in Star Wars Rogue One.
Just so you know.
Just so you know. Hi, I'm Stone.
And I'm Mickey.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Stone.
And I'm Mickey.
Welcome to...